Out-swinging delivery from Reed, puts his left arm up, then delivers this one towards the near post. It's headed away though quite easily by Fuchs and out for a throw. It was all a little bit simple there for Leicester defending from that corner kick, but Fulham are still in an attacking position as Harrison Reed just drops the ball now towards Cordova. Reed actually looked like Ola Aina was going to take it. They tried to get something quickly down that right side. Leicester have lost possession though. Now maybe an opportunity. Ball play towards Robinson inside the penalty area. Challenge comes in from Justin. It's brilliant play by him. Well, the referees actually brought this back for a free kick for Fulham, right on the edge of the D, just right centre of the D. So a really good attacking position now. Just seeing this one again, Leicester made a bit of a hash of clearing their lines. Lookman plays the ball, and then Lookman is absolutely wiped out by Nampali's Mendy. That's a good decision by Simon Hooper, who tried to play the advantage, tried to give Robertson the opportunity to maybe get a shot away. He didn't in the end, and now there is a chance for the Cottagers, and I have to say the rain, which was just sort of trickling down at the start of this game, is absolutely pouring down now, and this is not the kind of situation you want as a goalkeeper, with the slippy ball coming your way. If this one's on target, one that maybe skims off the surface, Kasper Schmeichel will be watching this one all the way, the Leicester captain. But a really good opportunity, and it is the 19 Ademola Lookman who is standing over this one, and he looks like he's going to try and bend this right-footed top right corner potentially. He steps up, he does go for that top right corner, but that's over the bar. Never dipping quite quick enough there from Lookman. Seeing replays from behind the goal now. Yeah, that was easy really. It was a good sort of idea on what he was trying to accomplish there, and sticking it in the top right corner just didn't quite work for the youngster, who is said to be enjoying his time back in the Premier League, even though he does have that penalty miss against him this season. As Leicester have possession now with Fuchs as he chests it up towards halfway. Infield now towards Mendy. Now with Maddison. Maddison is always being marshalled pretty quickly. He's not being allowed to turn and have a run at Fulham or pick out a pass. It's either Zambo Anguissa or Harrison Reed. One of those two are usually quickly on him at the moment, so that's good tactics used by Fulham in their defensive structure. As Justin has the ball down this right side. Just gives it towards Fofana on halfway. Back to Justin. Lovely nutmeg there by Justin. And it was nearly an opportunity for Pratt. He tried to do the same actually on Tosin Adarabayoyo, but he clears the ball up over halfway. Straight back towards a blue shirt though. And the Foxes will look to come again. Mendy on halfway. Tries to get away from Cavallero. Just drops it into the feet of Fuchs. Now Evans across towards Fofana. And again, it's a lot of possession from Leicester, but there's not a great deal of cutting edge in their open play at the moment. Maddison now with Mendy again. Fuchs, Mendy on halfway. Those two just exchanging passes. Now with Evans right on the centre circle. Fofana just feeds it first time towards Pratt, who gives it back to Fofana. It's a little bit sideways as Fofana goes further infield now towards Mendy. He's got Fuchs to go over to Fofana. Now it's with Justin. Justin now. Lovely turn of pace by Justin as he charges forward now. And he's absolutely wiped out on the edge.
Ontem teve vitória do Wolverhampton fora de casa para cima do Arsenal, 2-1.
Ya, sebuah tekanan yang
قال فاندر سار: لقد وجدنا شريكا مميزا في صناعة المواهب للمستقبل عندما
Welcome, Angus. How are you, pal?
standing over it. It's Maddison, right-footed, smacks it into the Fulham wall. Tielemans off the post on the rebound, and then Fofana off the crossbar as Areola came out to block, and Leicester hit the woodwork twice in a matter of seconds, but it stays goalless. Dean Ashton.
Well, Areola had absolutely no idea where the ball was, because it came through that wall that had all scattered like pinballs. He had no idea where the volley came from. It skidded off the surface, off the post, and then Fofana, when it's so wet like this, it's so difficult to finish with the outside of your foot. He just needs to side foot that in. He goes with the outside of his foot, skims off the top of his foot and off the crossbar.
Well, that without doubt is the closest we've come. Fulham have had an effort at the other end from a free kick just outside the box from Ademola Lookman that was blasted way over the crossbar. Don't forget, you can continue to listen to this game on TalkSport 2 via DAB+, or online at talksport.com. You can ask your smart speaker to play TalkSport 2, or if you download the world-beating TalkSport app for your smartphone, then you can swipe effortlessly between the two TalkSport stations to listen to this commentary, or indeed anything else that takes your fancy on either TalkSport or TalkSport 2. But we're coming up to 20 minutes gone here, and Leicester bidding to get level on top of the table with Spurs and Liverpool have just hit the woodwork twice, but it remains Leicester 0, Fulham 0. And Fulham are in possession on the halfway line with Ademola Lookman. Ball goes infield for Joaquin Anderson on loan from Lyon. Now Aina on the halfway line. Anguissa being watched by Yuri Tielemans. Aina elects to go back to his keeper Areola, who I guess we must credit Dean Ashton for narrowing that angle as Fofana was getting onto that ball. He made himself big and almost forced Fofana to try that flick with the outside of the boot rather than just side-footing it in.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it goes unnoticed, goalkeepers' work. We always think about how the attacker has missed the chance or not taken the chance, and so often, especially as a striker, if when you get your head up from controlling it, you've got a goalkeeper herring out at you, making himself big, it does make you panic, especially if you're not used to it like Fofana. So like you said, so important that he did react after it came off the post and made himself big.
Because there was nothing he could have done about it. If that had been another half an inch inside from Tielemans' speculative drive, then, well, Areola was a mere spectator. But it stays goalless here on TalkSport 2. We played 20 minutes at the King Power. And Fuchs under a bit of pressure, but he was clipped and has won a free kick as the rain continues to teem down here. But that doesn't stop either Scott Parker or Brendan Rodgers standing at the edge of their technical areas and getting wet. Scott Parker, as always, sartorially elegant.
I mean, them garments are far too expensive to be getting wet. I can promise you that.
You can afford a dry cleaning bill. Surely to goodness. Here's Jamie Vardy looking to slide the ball down the right-hand side, looking for James Justin. Comes to him eventually via a deflection off Robinson. Now Dennis Pratt, right-hand corner of the area, running away from the box now, trying to take on Anthony Robinson down the left-hand side. Reid was in there as well, Harrison Reid, who's got to be careful now because he's got a yellow card and he's a combative defensive midfielder, Dean Ashton. He's going to have to watch himself.
Yeah, his job is to be putting his foot in, and it doesn't help. These conditions really don't help when you're looking to make challenges and certainly slide into challenges.
Now, Andre Frank Anguissa making a strong run over the halfway line. In the side today for Mario Lemina, one of two changes that Fulham have made. Here's the other change, Loftus-Cheek, who came in for Kearney. Now it's not back in field for Anguissa. Robinson's in bags of space on the far side, and Anguissa finds him with a lovely floated pass out to the Fulham left. Robinson faced up by Justin, so he goes backward to square infield to Harrison Reid. Anguissa back to the halfway line, and just that half chance that Fulham had to get in behind Leicester's gone. Now the ball's played down the left-hand side. Lookman can't win the header against Fofana, who towers over him and nods the ball down for Yuri Tielemans. And the Belgian just casually clips the ball across to the left-sided centre-half, Christian Fuchs, midway point of his own half.
It's just in terms of the way Fulham have set up, Caballero is playing as the central striker, but not really. He's sort of a little bit deeper. There's no real focal point of the attack. I think that's kind of what Scott Parker's going for, isn't it? Is that when they do win the ball back, just all four of the attackers can go wherever they see fit.
That's the voice of Dean Ashton you can hear alongside me. Ian Dancer at the King Power Stadium, midway through the first half. Both managers getting soaked. Incidentally, do you not think Scott Parker's got 25 of the same outfit at home? It's like Ozzy Osbourne, who's got 30 black T-shirts and 30 pairs of black leggings. He just wears one each month. I bet Parker has.
I mean, the array of attire that he's got was outrageous. Even when when he was at West Ham with us every day. Most of us would come in just in a free trackie that you'd got from the brand that sponsors you. Not Scott Parker would come in like that. He'd come in as he's dressed now with
a tie pin.
With a tie pin and a snazzy jacket and
fair play.
Drain pipe chinos.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Anguissa on halfway, wins it back for Fulham. Strong run, and he's taken out by Fofana. Was he? No, Fofana won the ball. Anguissa stayed down, and Leicester bring the ball away with Justin. Down the right-hand side for Dennis Pratt. Vardy's lurking at the edge of the box. Anguissa only just now picking himself up. Now Christian Fuchs striding forward. Plays it out to the left wing for Luke Thomas. Thomas looking to take on Decordova-Reid. Gets to the byline, plays the cross in. Cleared away by Adarabioyo. Only as far as Mendy. Out to Fuchs on this near side, the Leicester left. First time ball into the box. Areola can claim comfortably on the edge of his 6-yard line, and it stays Leicester 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport 2.
Again, that has to be something that we keep looking at, is Thomas against Decordova-Reid. Doesn't look comfortable in that position defensively. Even his body shape there as he faced up. Thomas just wasn't right for a defender.
No, it's not a natural thing for him to. He's been told to do that.
Of course he has. Yes, but I think that in the end can cost you if he doesn't get it right.
Leicester have the ball midway point of their own half. Fofana swings it out to the right for James Justin. Pratt started to make a strong run through the inside right channel, but he's not used him. It's gone back to Fofana instead on the halfway line. Justin again for the Foxes.
They've definitely dropped, haven't they, Fulham, from earlier on in the game?
Yes.
I think it's a much better setup that they've got. This is how I've seen so many teams play against Leicester, just trying to frustrate and give no real space for Vardy at all.
Which is why they've lost 3 of their last 5 here at the King Power, I guess, because of that frustration and the inability to break that low block, which Fulham have got on right now. But Leicester still have possession, right-hand side. Good ball from Justin to find Pratt on the right-hand side, and the cross was flicked goalwards by Jamie Vardy, but it was claimed at the near post at the second attempt by Alphonso Areola. Good work down the right-hand side from Dennis Pratt, and Vardy trying to do something instinctive at the near post, but it didn't come off. 0-0.
Just got himself away, didn't he? Pratt wasn't picked up, tried to play offside. Adarabioyo. Lovely fizzed-in ball. Great movement as well from Jamie Vardy. The minute that ball got played, I saw him, he just checked his run and then sprinted to the near post. Great movement. Any young player should watch Jamie Vardy's movements. Excellent. Lovely little Cruyff flick towards goal.
Leicester win the ball back, and then there's a foul on James Maddison by Ivan Caballero. You're listening to Leicester 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport 2 with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Get a quote in 60 seconds at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Schmeichel receives the free kick sent back to him as Leicester take it short. Johnny Evans again has Fofana showing just to his right. And again, Fulham are waiting until Leicester get to round about the halfway line before they engage. Long diagonal ball downfield looking for Pratt. Comfortably volleyed away for Fulham by Adarabioyo. And it'll drop for Anguissa. He lays it off for Harrison Reed, who looks early for Lookman just inside the Leicester half left-hand side. Controls it on his instep and feeds it back to Anthony Robinson. Robinson finds Harrison Reed. Lookman, first time ball in field onto the chest of Loftus-Cheek, who's got 3 Leicester players round him. Still managed to shovel it back to Joachim Andersen. And now Aina gets his head up and looks to play a diagonal ball in for Loftus-Cheek. It drops at the edge of the area. Lookman finds Caballero with his back to goal. He's got Robinson on his left-hand side. Robinson drives it at the near post, and it's patted down by Schmeichel, and it stays Leicester 0, Fulham 0, but that's Fulham's best chance of this opening half hour.
Yeah, and that's a real chance for Anthony Robinson. Lovely bit of football from Fulham. Great little pass over the top from Aina. And when it got towards Caballero, he's really unselfish, just turned it round the corner for Anthony Robinson, who was flying down the left-hand side. Took it first time as he had to. Straight down the throat of Schmeichel, though.
Don't forget, tomorrow on TalkSport 2 from 3 o'clock, the third T20 International, exclusively live to TalkSport 2. South Africa against England. England have won the series, but can they make it a clean sweep in Cape Town? And then as soon as that's done, Championship action, 7:45, QPR Bristol City. Here's Tielemans for Leicester at 0-0. Finds Dennis Pratt at the edge of the area. Rolls in Justin down the right-hand side of the box. The cross deflects up in the air and over everybody. Breaks out to the left-hand side of the box where Maddison picks it up for the Foxes. Up against Decordova-Reid. Tries to send the cross in. Blocked out to Fuchs. First time crosses headed clear from close to the ground by Joachim Andersen. And it's all hands to the pump for Fulham at the back, 0-0.
It certainly is, but actually I'm looking at the defensive positions of what is a back five, essentially, with Decordova-Reid going back to help, and their positioning was really, really good from both of them crosses, which is why they were able to deal with them. I know there was deflection on the first one, but there wasn't a free Leicester player, and that's so important.
Very interesting that Bobby Decordova-Reid is doing that very diligent job to assist Aina on the Fulham right, the Leicester left, as it were. Fulham coming forward now with Anguissa trying to counter-attack. Another strong run from Anguissa, slips it through, and Lookman's in, he's onside. Ademola Lookman, Fulham lead! A swift counter-attack, and Ademola Lookman slides it past Kasper Schmeichel, and the team desperate to get out of the bottom three, take the lead at top spot, chasing Leicester City. Leicester 0, Fulham 1, it's Lookman.
And that's been their problem, Leicester, especially at home, is being caught on the counter-attack, giving the ball away. Tielemans and that man Anguissa, driving run, timed it perfectly, the ball in behind. And Johnny Evans, shame on you, trying to play offside, got to stay with your man Lookman. Instead, once he's played through, he's got all the time in the world to size it up. Kasper Schmeichel comes out, he just coolly side foots it past him. No dinks this time, back of the net.
He struck it very firmly. No thoughts of Panenkering it from just inside the box from Lookman. That's his second goal of the season. And Anguissa just getting a hefty pat on the back from Scott Parker as a few Fulham players come to this near touchline. Leicester players asking the referee, why can't we restart play? And a shirt was held up in memory of Papa Bouba Diop, a Senegalese shirt with number 19 on the back. Papa Bouba Diop, who of course sadly passed away this weekend at the age of just 42, represented Fulham with great distinction and his country Senegal at a World Cup. And the Fulham players quick to honour his memory as they take the lead here on the half hour in the East Midlands, live on TalkSport 2. And it's laid off by Caballero to Loftus-Cheek, who's trying to bring Decordova-Reid into the game, who's caught up field. And Leicester now have it back with Maddison. Lovely turn. Looks for Vardy with a reverse pass. Vardy's into the area. Angles tight. Plays it across the face of goal. And Adarabayo hooks it over the crossbar for a Leicester corner. Leicester 0, Fulham 1.
Got a bit lucky early on. Aina tries to clear it, then ricochets into Maddison. It's the first time we've seen Maddison anywhere near the penalty area with a fraction of a space. It's a wonderful reverse pass to Jamie Vardy, who just gets himself free from Andersen. And he does the right thing. There's no real help, so he just tries to fire it across, thinking that it might hit a defender, keeper's legs and go in.
James Maddison has the corner at the north stand end, the northwest corner, just down beneath us. Right-footed in-swinger to the far post. Fofana gets the first header up. Vardy tries to help it down for Johnny Evans. It's bouncing around the area, and then Anguissa just hoofs it downfield, asking Caballero to give chase, and Caballero does well and nicks it infield, and Lookman's on the charge again, this time down the inside right channel, nobody with him. Lookman's on his own inside the box, tries to step inside his man. He's now been dispossessed as Tielemans brings it away, but his clearance only finds a Fulham shirt on halfway. Decordova-Reid now takes it up for Fulham. Loftus-Cheek inside right channel finds Decordova-Reid hugging this near touchline. Aina will go back to halfway, and Adarabayo. And again, Dean Ashton, Lookman was the man most likely.
Yeah, I mean, he started on that left-hand side, but again, he's obviously being allowed to drift into central areas. So when they do win the ball, as Leicester get forward.
James Maddison just lets the ball run a little bit too far ahead of him, and that allows the ball to be cleared downfield by Aina, but straight to Tielemans.
But they really look a threat on the break, and clearly being allowed that licence, two or three of them, when they do win the ball, to get forward. And Lookman, along with Anguissa, have certainly been the brighter of the Fulham side.
Leicester 0, Fulham 1 on TalkSport 2. Just over 12 minutes to the break. And don't forget, you've got a choice of listening tomorrow night. I'll be at the Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium for the 7:45 kickoff between QPR and Bristol City. We've also got Porto and Manchester City on TalkSport at 8 o'clock. Leicester have lost possession again here. A goal down, they've lost possession in midfield, but Fulham give it away just as soon as they win it. And then Anguissa charges into Tielemans, and you're not going to win many 50-50 balls against Frank Anguissa. But the ball floated out by Loftus-Cheek to this near side, looking for Deco-Overeed. Floats straight out of play for a throw to the Foxes. Fulham lead by a goal to 0 here. Dean Ashton.
Well, it's interesting, we were talking, weren't we, before the game about Mitrovic, and me personally, I would always have him in the side, but you said maybe he wants that extra bit of life in the forward line, especially when they win the ball back, especially away from home, and we have seen that. We have seen that from Fulham. They've looked lively, they look creative, and energetic. It's been good.
Reid wins the ball from Dennis Pratt and finds Caballero, one of this buzzy front three for Fulham, but Anguissa's just as important. He played really well when he came on against Everton last Sunday, and now Bobby Deco-Overeed's on the burst down the right-hand side, tries to get into the box ahead of Fuchs, who they collided, they both went to ground, and the referee just saw that as a natural coming together, and no foul, no penalty, play on at 1-0 to Fulham.
I mean, that'll have to be, it will be looked at, because I would think of no other reason why Deco-Overeed wouldn't just get the other side of the ball.
Well, Simon Hooper wave play on, but I'm sure that they're looking at that back at VAR. Darren England and Stephen Child are their men back at Stockley Park this evening. As Maddison takes the ball forward, the ball's not gone out of play, and we won't be able to get a proper ruling on that until we know the ball has next gone dead. And Leicester keeping the ball just by the centre circle. 1-0 to Fulham it is on TalkSport 2. Luke Thomas on this near side of the left goes back into the centre circle for Johnny Evans.
I wonder who's dreading taking the penalty while this is all going on. Who's thinking, oh no, it's me.
Fulham penalties are a story in their own right just at the moment. Never mind Lookman and Caballero. Goes back further than those two gentlemen. And then a foul by Mendy on Aina gives Fulham a free kick, and maybe this is the chance for VAR to get involved and have a definite check on what happened when Deco-Overeed and Fuchs collided just inside the box.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky enough just to have a monitor in front of us just to give us another look at that as Fuchs comes across. I don't think he can get out of the way, and as far as I'm concerned, he clashes knees with Deco-Overeed. It has to be a penalty. He doesn't really make a challenge as such. Well, he tries to kick it, but
he doesn't get the ball.
He just clashes into Deco-Overeed. It has to be a penalty.
Well, Simon Hooper is just standing in the middle of the Fulham half of the field, whilst instructions are passed to him by Darren England and Stephen Child. Of course, he has the option to go to the screen on the side of the pitch if he wants to check things out for himself, but the VAR says he's going to have to check that screen. He's coming over to this near side, and the referee review area is to the left of Scott Parker's technical area. Of course, nobody can stand anywhere near Simon Hooper as he watches this, so he's been advised by Darren England and Stephen Child to check this footage that we're now watching as well on the same monitor that we've got, and he's going to decide it's a penalty to Fulham for the challenge by Fuchs on Deco-Overeed. Fulham have a penalty and a chance to go 2-0 up at Leicester.
And that's where VAR works brilliantly, because probably from the distance he was at, because it was a counter-attack, the referee wouldn't have been able to get up along with play, and from his position he must have felt that it wasn't a penalty. Well, rightly so, looked at it again, and it was clear, it was very clear that it was contact from Fuchs.
Fulham have missed 5 of their last 8 penalties in the Premier League, and the last 5 misses from 5 different players. Steve Sidwell, Abubakar Kamara, Alexander Mitrovic, Ademola Lookman and Ivan Caballero, who had a double strike as he tried to score a penalty against Everton last time out. But Scott Parker told me that he'd been flying, taking penalties in training, and Caballero has taken responsibility again for this penalty kick for Fulham. Kasper Schmeichel slowly backs onto his goal line as listeners from TalkSport join us. It's a penalty to Fulham. Caballero missed last time out against Everton. He's kept the responsibility from 12 yards and a chance to put Fulham 2 up. Right-footed, strikes it and scores right in the top corner. That's a perfect penalty from Ivan Caballero. Finally, Fulham get it right from 12 yards, and they're now 2 goals up in the East Midlands, and Leicester have an awful lot of work to do. It is Leicester City 0, Fulham 2.
And the manager, Scott Parker, he was right to trust him. He was right that penalties were clearly being taken well in training, because he looked confident this time. Stepped up. He's probably got them rugby boot studs in his boots. tonight because his foot planted beautifully, crisp side foot into that top corner.
And Scott Parker definitely did not betray his emotions when that hit the corner of the net. Proper fist bump and clenched teeth from Scott Parker. And Fulham trying to get themselves out of trouble with only one win this season and one clean sheet, are 2-0 up against Leicester, the side chasing a chance to go joint top of the Premier League table. If ever you wanted a scoreline that shows you how bonkers this division is, particularly this season, Dean Ashton, this is it. Leicester 0, Fulham 2.
Of course it is, but they've been very good for the 2-0 lead, to be honest. The way that they've set up defensively, and also the energy they've showed, the enthusiasm they've showed when they've won the ball back has been excellent and caused Leicester problems. Leicester just looking a little bit sluggish, as they have done so often when I've watched them here. If teams sit back, they do look sluggish. It's down to them attacking players to bring that energy. For the likes of Maddison, get yourself on the ball.
Well, Leicester have 5 minutes, just over, to try and get themselves back into this contest before the break. And this is manna from heaven for Scott Parker. He's still pacing up and down his technical area like a caged tiger. I think he feels he can still go out there and do a job at the age of 40. He still looks at his fighting weight, in fairness to him.
He always was. Wasn't like me, who needed to be checked every Monday morning on the scales.
That's quite an admission, Dean Ashton. Didn't have to be quite so candid. Another free kick to Fulham, meantime. This time Loftus-Cheek was brought down by Fuchs. And Fulham, well, I wouldn't say they're enjoying themselves out there, but they're certainly in a position that they rarely find themselves in. 2 goals to the good before half-time in a Premier League fixture. And against a team like Leicester, who, as we've seen sometimes this season, can be absolutely merciless. Early free kick, slid down the left-hand side of the box. Caballero with a drive, tipped over by Schmeichel. Really tight angle, and Caballero managed to whip the shot away left-footed. And Schmeichel had to be alert at his near post and turn it over for a Fulham corner.
And they're just a great example of the difference in alertness from both sets of players. Caballero looking for that clever, quick free kick. Tielemans not quite switched on. Luckily for him, goalkeeper tipped it over.
So Harrison Reed's going to take the corner, and he's in no hurry to spot the ball down. We're into the 41st minute of this first half on TalkSport 2. Leicester 0, Fulham 2, if you're just joining us. Goals from Lookman and Caballero from the penalty spot. Yes, Fulham scored from a penalty. Here's Reed's corner from the right into the near post, comfortably headed clear by Fuchs, but only as far as Lookman, right-hand corner of the box. He's faced up by Pratt, works it out to the right, and Harrison Reed. Loftus-Cheek is with him too. Loftus-Cheek is dispossessed by Fuchs. Pratt sends the ball downfield, looking for Maddison, but it bounces beyond him, guided back by Aina to Alphonse Areola. Areola up to halfway. Deco Devery gets a vital touch. Loftus-Cheek just lofts it down the right-hand side, asking Caballero to give chase. Caballero's there first, looks to go inside Johnny Evans. Evans stuck to his task really well, stayed on his feet and won the ball back. Great defending from the veteran Johnny Evans.
Yeah, it was. Shouldn't have been given a chance, though. Anguissa made a brilliant run on the outside. Wasn't played in by Caballero.
3 minutes to half-time.
Just a little note, Loftus-Cheek's been classy, hasn't he? Looks silky in every single touch that he's had.
Enjoying himself out there. Scored his first goal for the club against Everton in that attempted comeback 8 days ago. That's Leicester who've got to try and come back. Here's Maddison, 25 yards out. Tries a left-footed drive, always rising over the bar. And that'll be a goal kick to Fulham away to our left-hand side. Leicester 0, Fulham 2. 2.5 to the break plus added time. Here's Dean Ashton.
That's much better from James Maddison. Much better positioning. You've got a holding midfielder in Reed who's on a yellow card. Do you know what? Go and stand near him. Go and try and receive the ball into feet, as he just did there. If he doesn't come near you because he's on the yellow card, great. Allows you to shoot like it did there. If not, you never know. Might just come in through the back of you and off he goes.
Don't forget, 8 o'clock tonight here on TalkSport 2. Straight after this commentary, Faye Carruthers is here with the Women's Football Weekly. Siobhan Chamberlain, former England Lionesses goalkeeper, is going to be her studio guest. They'll be discussing concussion protocols in the game after what's been happening in the Arsenal-Wolves game yesterday. Plus you'll hear from Lucy Bronze of Manchester City after her nomination for the FIFA Best Women's Footballer. That's the Women's Football Weekly, 8 o'clock tonight, straight after the conclusion of this exclusive national radio commentary we're bringing you here on TalkSport 2, with 90 seconds plus added time in this first half remaining. Leicester City 0, Fulham 2. And Leicester have the ball on halfway. Maddison picks the ball up now left-hand side, tries to guide it down for Luke Thomas, who had Aina right at his back and sliding in and putting it out for a throw. Fuchs will take the throw. Midway point pretty much of the Fulham half. Down the Leicester left. Maddison has come short. Pratt's there too. Vardy's standing very deep in an offside position inside the box. Now he comes level with the edge of the area as Leicester work it back to the halfway line. Maddison trying to twist and turn away from Harrison Reed. Finds Fofana on the halfway line. Fofana gets his head up, gives it back to Maddison in the centre circle. Now Maddison plays it along the deck to Jamie Vardy, 35 yards out with his back to play. Feeds it back 10 or 15 yards or so to Yuri Tielemans. Fofana being tracked by Lookman, so he comes in field for Johnny Evans. Everybody bar Schmeichel inside the Fulham half, away to our left at the moment. 30 seconds of normal time to go. Maddison looks to turn away from Caballero, just by the centre circle. Tielemans is just to his right. He strokes it out to Fofana, right-hand side of the pitch, midway point of the half, but he slipped slightly as he tried to drag it infield past Lookman, and it goes out of play. And the applause you can hear down beneath us from the Fulham ancillary staff and the substitutes, because the Cottagers have won a throw and are trying to see this out to keep it 2-0 at the break, Dean Ashton.
I think very much like in Europe in midweek, I think Leicester are going to have to make, and Brendan Rodgers is going to have to make a few changes, try and freshen things up. I personally think they could go to a back four. I'd like to see both Under and Barnes both to come on and give Vardy some much needed support and actually have a right go at this Leicester defence, because so far it's been great for them considering what pressure they've been under this season.
Free kick for Leicester as we're into 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time at the end of this first half on TalkSport 2. It's midway point of the Fulham half, out to the right-hand side, probably about 10 yards in from the right-hand touchline. Maddison standing over it, and Lookman's just being told to march back 10 yards by Simon Hooper, who's doing that himself before he'll apply the old shaving foam and ask Lookman to stand behind it, just in front of the 18-yard line. So a right-footed, in-swinging free kick from Maddison to come, trying to keep it away then from Alphonse Areola. Fulham keeping a very high line on the 18-yard line, daring Leicester to try and break that. In it comes from Maddison. Up go the heads. It's Aino got the vital head touch. It breaks for Pratt. Now Fuchs left-hand side tries to drive it goalwards but didn't get the power, and it was straight through to Areola. And Fulham may well have seen this first half out with that 2-0 lead.
Big sigh of relief for Scott Parker, who's bellowing about focus from the set play. Fell to Fuchs. We know how well he can strike it, but he doesn't. He sort of stabs it into the ground and into the goalkeeper's hands.
Areola clears from hands for Fulham downfield, looking for Loftus-Cheek. Two Leicester players got there before him. Decordova-Reid keeps it in play and lobs it downfield. Loftus-Cheek puts his frame in the way of Luke Thomas. Lookman goes down. Anguissa trying to latch onto a loose ball, but Johnny Evans got there first, and now Anguissa's trying to worry James Justin. Tielemans brings the ball away, guides it down for Justin. Maybe this is the last chance for Leicester in this first half. The 2 minutes are done. It's up to Simon Hooper as to how much more he wants to add on at the end of this first period on TalkSport 2. Luke Thomas tries to get away down the left. Fulham clear their lines. It goes high in the air, and Simon Hooper brings the first half to a close. And how about this for a scoreline? Fulham, only 1 win all season and 7 defeats, find themselves 2 goals up at Leicester City. And Leicester, the side bidding to go level with Liverpool and Spurs at the top of the table tonight. Well, they've got an awful lot of work to do if they're going to be able to achieve that in the next 45 minutes, because a goal from Ademola Lookman on the counter-attack slipped through beautifully by Frank Anguissa, and then a penalty awarded by VAR after Fuchs collided with Decordova-Reid at the right-hand side of the box. Simon Hooper consulted his pitch side screen, gave the penalty, and Ivan Caballero did not fluff his lines this time, dispatched the penalty into the top corner. And the Foxes, well, they never quit, they say here. Well, they're up against it tonight. Half-time at the King Power. Leicester City 0, Fulham 2.
Thank you very much, Ian. They certainly are up against it, Dean Ashton. And, you know, Fulham started the half. They were pretty careful in defence, and then they just got into their game plan, which obviously included counter-attack Leicester, because that's where they have a weakness.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And like I said, I've seen teams come here and just sit deep, but not offer as much as Fulham have. Certainly on the counter-attack, I thought they've been really, really brave in that sense. When they have won the ball back, they've allowed 3, 4, 5 players to all go and try and attack Leicester, and it's worked really, really well. And as the half's gone on, I thought that the shapes got even better defensively, gone a little bit deeper, just giving themselves a little bit more room, and they haven't really been tested other than obviously when they hit the post twice.
Yes, I mean, it was extraordinary that Leicester didn't take the lead. It was a Maddison free kick, and they ended up hitting the post and then the crossbar, didn't they? Tielemans and Fofana.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think if you put Jamie Vardy in that position that Fofana was in, I think we see the net bulge, because he just didn't look quite comfortable. Like I said in commentary, when you go with the outside of your foot on a wet evening, it's got to be so precise, and maybe it just skidded off the outside of his foot, and the goalkeeper did well as well. But other than that, not enough from my opinion from Leicester. It's, again, so often I see it here at home, they just allow the first half certainly just to drift, and teams to get comfortable and look threatening on the break.
The first goal for Fulham, Ademola Lookman, of course, who's had his down moments, particularly from the penalty spot, but it was a lovely finish, wasn't it, Dean?
Yeah, I think that penalty has maybe overshadowed some of the good work that he's done. Obviously, he scored a wonderful goal. I think it was at Sheffield United, and also he played very, very well in the second half against Everton, and other good performances without maybe getting the goals and the rewards that he's deserved. But you're right, he's really looked lively, he's looked enthusiastic, energetic, wants to be part of the attack, and took his goal really, really nicely. And it's probably exactly what Scott Parker would have asked of him, was do your defensive job, but when you get the chance, go and create and be what you're good at.
And the penalty itself, would it have been a penalty when you were playing at the top level, that?
Yeah, I think it would have been, because Fuchs has just gone to try and clear it, hasn't he? He's missed it and clattered thighs with Deco Dover-Reid. I think in any era, I think that would have been a penalty. It surprised me that it took so long, because I think it takes one look from the VAR to go, yeah, it's a penalty. It should take one look from the referee, but they got there in the end, and rightly so, and that's where VAR is good, I think.
Ivan Cavallero, of course, scored the penalty, and we know what's happened to Fulham with penalties recently. If he had have missed, he didn't, they would have become the first team in Premier League history to miss penalties in 3 consecutive games, so they'll be delighted he scored.
Yeah, they will. Not a record you want. And to be fair, the way he took the penalty, I don't think you could tell that it had affected him, the last penalty that he missed in the last game. Obviously he slipped, that's very unfortunate. He looked really, really confident when he took the penalty, and it just gives them a bit of a cushion, but they can't go in and relax. I think the second half's going to be really, really tough for them.
Do you think, finally, and we'll let you have a wee break in a sec, Dean, that, you know, Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy counter-attacking together have looked so good for Leicester? Do you think Brendan Rodgers has got to bring Barnes on?
Oh, I think he will. Whether it's at half-time or after 5 or 10 minutes, I think he will do. I think he's just, again, he's caught, because of European football, he's having to try and, you know, shuffle the pack, keep players fresh, because of the amount of games that they've got. And I think this is just a case of, again, he's tried to rest him this evening, and he's going to have to call upon him, because he's struck up such a good partnership. And again, I think when the teams are going to sit in, he is one of those players that maybe doesn't need a pass. He can create it himself. He can go past players and open things up.
Okay, thanks for the moment, Dean Ashton, and Ian Dante will take you through the second half of the King Power. Half-time, Leicester 0, Fulham 2.
TalkSport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League. Game day exclusive on TalkSport 2 with WeBuyAnyCar.com. To find out how much your car's worth in under 60 seconds, enter your reg now.
Did somebody say just me? Get delivery like a G. See, hungry dogs gotta eat. I get mines every day, every week. Chicken wings to the crib, I'm sitting in. Burger in the low. Hope they put the pickle in. Wonton on a catamaran. Oodles and noodles, thank you, my man.
As all the big games kick off across the nation, head to thesun.co.uk/football for all the fallout following another massive weekend of football in the Premier League and beyond.
That is a fantastic goal!
The hottest news, essential views, live blogs, and the biggest opinions in the game from the biggest names in the game.
They've done it!
And with a reporter at every game across the country, thesun.co.uk/football has all the football news you need. The Sun. We live it.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade-quality building products. In November, we've got 65mm Class B engineering bricks for just 39p each, excluding VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. Selco, serving the trade for 125 years.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
VAT charged at 20%.
Finding your perfect new home can be tough. So if you keep missing out,
it's time to search at
There are thousands of new properties to buy or rent every month at onthemarket.com. 24 hours or more before they're on Rightmove or Zoopla. See them first. Set up a property alert today.
Search onthemarket.com to find your perfect home.
If you're in the market, search onthemarket.com. See onthemarket.com/new and exclusive. Agents specify exclusivity.
Game day exclusive on TalkSport 2 with the Now TV Sky Sports Pass. Only pay for the games that matter to you from just $9.99. Search Now TV. 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
This Christmas on Disney Plus. Stream the biggest new releases plus all your festive favorites. Wow. With Pixar's exclusive new critically acclaimed movie, Soul.
Today started out as the best day of my life.
The hilarious new comedy, Noel, starring Anna Kendrick.
We gotta find Santa.
And the unmissable Christmas mischief of Home Alone. Make this Christmas wonderful with Disney Plus. All these and more streaming this Christmas. 18+ subscription required. T's and C's apply.
On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app, and on your smart speaker. Game day exclusive on TalkSport 2.
Maddison and Fuchs standing over it. It's Maddison right-footed, smacks it into the Fulham wall. Tielemans off the post on the rebound, and then Fofana off the crossbar as Areola came out to block, and Leicester hit the woodwork twice in a matter of seconds, but it stays goalless. Dean Ashton.
Well, Areola had absolutely no idea where the ball was. And then Fofana, when it's so wet like this, it's so difficult to finish with the outside of your foot.
Fulham coming forward now with Anguissa trying to counter-attack. Another strong run from Anguissa, slips it through, and Lookman's in, he's onside. Ademola Lookman, Fulham lead! A swift counter-attack, and the team desperate to get out of the bottom three. Take the lead.
He just coolly side foots it past him. No dinks this time, back of the net.
And now Bobby Decordova reads on the burst down the right-hand side. Tries to get into the box ahead of Fuchs, who they collided, they both went to ground. And the referee just saw that as a natural coming together, and no foul, no penalty, play on at 1-0 to Fulham.
I mean, that'll have to be, it will be looked at.
And he's going to decide it's a penalty to Fulham for the challenge by Fuchs on Decordova-Reid. Caballero, right-footed, strikes it and scores right in the top corner. That's a perfect penalty from Ivan Caballero. Finally, Fulham get it right from 12 yards, and they're now 2 goals up.
So at the King Power, Leicester City 0, Fulham 2. Second half is coming up for you live here on TalkSport 2. We have another Premier League game kicking off at 8 o'clock tonight at the London Stadium. West Ham against Aston Villa. Our man there is Ian Abrahams. Evening, Ian.
Evening, Russ. How are you?
Very good, thank you. You'll be looking forward to this. It's your team against Aston Villa, as long as they both don't play in their home kits.
Yeah, the Battle of the Claret and Blues. Interesting game. I mean, really interesting game. West Ham, Villa have just arrived, by the way. Their players just coming out onto the pitch in front of me. And this will be the last game, by the way, here without fans as well. From Saturday live on TalkSport, we bring you West Ham Man United with 2,000 fans. It's going to look strange having fans in the stadium after so long not having them. It also looks strange having so few, but West Ham will certainly appreciate the fact that they'll be back, and I'm sure the fans will appreciate massively being back as well. I mean, the form is brilliant. West Ham won the last 2 1-0. They haven't won 3 games in a row in the top flight without conceding a goal for 6 years. So that's something for David Moyes to try and go for tonight. Villa, an impeccable away record so far. A 3-0 win at Fulham, a 3-0 win at Arsenal, both in London, and a 1-0 win at Leicester. So they've won all three. They've yet to concede a goal away from home as well. So it's promising to be an interesting game. And of course, last season, this is where Villa stayed up on the final day.
Yes, it is. Do you think West Ham and Aston Villa are both roughly the same in the Premier League in terms of ambitions? I mean, a top 6 finish for either would be considered a major result, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, do I think either will get top 6? No. Do I think either really harbour ambitions of being top 6? Probably not. I think both harbour ambitions being top 10. And I think West Ham, you look at it now, I mean, there's only a point and only Man City sandwiched in between them, so you'd say they're on a pretty similar level. I would say that if you were to offer me one team out of either who will finish top 10 this season, I would probably say West Ham. But then, you know, Villa seem to be a little bit more settled in terms of, you know, if they lose a game, well, you know, they lose it and they kind of move on. If West Ham lose a game, it's a crisis. And West Ham are always just 1 or 2 games away from their season being either really good and everyone being really happy in terms of the fan base, or it being a real disaster and then everyone back on the backs of the board. I mean, I remember being here on the opening day when they were well beaten by Newcastle, and there were fans outside protesting and they wanted the ball gone. And while I'm not saying that West Ham fans, those that wanted the ball gone, still don't, they're less vociferous now. You see them a lot less. You know, they're not out there every week protesting about the board because the team are winning, and that forever and a day has been the lot of a football fan, but especially you feel at this club. You know, when things are going well, everybody's right behind them, but it doesn't take much for that to tip the other way. A little bit like Spurs, I guess.
I think you're right. Enjoy the game, Ian. Updates from Ian over on Talk Sport in the Premier League tonight. London Stadium without fans. It changes at the weekend. West Ham against Aston Villa. Right, let's get the half-time odds, shall we, with 888 Sport. Leicester to win against Fulham, 9-1. The draw, 21-5. And Fulham win, 2-7 on at the moment. That was the very latest odds with 888 Sport. Play responsibly. 18s and overs, please. BeGambleAware.org. Let's go back to the King Power. Ian Danter and Dean Ashton are there. Second half is coming up for you live here on Talk Sport 2. Too early to say, is it any Leicester changes that are visual to you or not?
We're hearing rumours that there will be a Leicester change right at the start of the second half, Russ, although we haven't been given any specific details as to who. The Fulham players are already on their way out and just doing their little shut and runs pitch side. But yes, we've heard that Brendan Rodgers is going to make at least one change.
Very quickly, Dean, if you're Scott Parker and Fulham, do you stick or twist?
I think you have to go out and try and play the same way. The big issue will be, will the nerves start to show if Leicester start to put some pressure on, maybe get a goal? That's what's going to be interesting.
Terrific first half for Fulham. Leicester not so good. They've got to turn it around in the second half. If Leicester can win tonight, it would be a heck of a performance, but they could go joint top of the Premier League. If it stays like this and Fulham win, they'll be out of the bottom 3. Second half now here on TalkSport 2 with Dean Ashton and Ian Danter.
And it's actually a double change that Brendan Rodgers has made right at the start of the second half. Harvey Barnes has come on for Dennis Pratt, a change that Russ and Dean were talking about just before there. And Cengiz Under is also on, replacing Luke Thomas, who had a fairly quiet first half. But the Turkish player who scored a couple of goals for his country in the last international break is here on loan from Roma. Got a couple of assists so far. Be my first look at him live. What have you made of Cengiz Under's contribution to Leicester City thus far?
Looks really bright. Looks like a player that's going to try and get in behind, which they certainly didn't have in the first half with Pratt, and look to get a lot closer to Jamie Vardy. Got a lovely left foot, much more creative again, like I said, than Pratt, who I see more as a central midfield player.
Well, I'll run you through the revised lineups in a minute, because we're back underway now here on TalkSport 2 at the King Power. Leicester in their all-blue strip shirts, shorts and socks with a bit of white trim. heading for the south stand, given away by Fofana, and Lookman's running at the Leicester back line already early in the second period. Robinson on the overlap just outside him. Anthony Robinson doesn't get it because Lookman's just rolled his foot on the ball and come out to this near touchline. Passes it back 10 yards or so to Harrison Reed. Now Lookman again looks to flick it round the corner past Justin, but he's pushed over James Justin, and Leicester have a free kick. So Leicester have Schmeichel in goal. Not sure whether it is still a back three, isn't it, of Fofana, Evans and Fuchs, and then Justin, Tielemans, Mendy and Barnes out on the left-hand side, Maddison, Under and Vardy up front.
No, it's definitely a 4.
Is it a 4 now?
It is a 4.
Forgive me, it is Justin, then Fofana, Evans and Fuchs.
It's just Justin's gone and played like a right winger.
Yeah. Meanwhile, for Fulham, Areola's the goalkeeper, 4-2-3-1 for them. Aina, Anderson, Adarabayo and Robinson in the 4. Reed, that's Harrison Reed, and Anguissa holding. Then De Cordova, Reed, Loftus-Cheek and Lookman in behind Caballero. So Brendan Rodgers has made the changes. The words, I'm sure, of his half-time team talk ringing in the Leicester players' ears as they made their way back out. 18 points after 9 games is their joint highest tally.